Hello, how are you doing? Well, I want to do a fast video. This week is Thanksgiving week and I will be busy too. I've already been busy, but I will be busy. I'll be um, having dinner with my family on Thursday, at least half of my family, because my son has to work. So, anyways, I want to do a real fast video because just to let you know, this is my last video, and then I will make another one probably on Sunday or Monday. And I was reading again Mark, because my last video I talked about Mark and Mark 13, and I found something really interesting. Well, Mark, the first part of Mark is about the destruction of the temple, right? And the second part is about the return of Christ. Okay? Tells you in my Bible, it tells you actually that. Okay? So in 24 is when the second coming starts. The day of the Lord starts there. Why? Because the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light. And the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers that are in heaven will be shaken. Why? Because there will be a pole shift. It will be shaken. Earth will be shaken there. Every island will move and every mountain will move. Okay? And then he will send forth his angels who will gather together his elect from the four winds of the earth to the other. Now, this is not the rapture. Jesus will come for his bride himself. I said that Mark did a great job here explaining the destruction of the temple, and then he starts the return. But I believe they thought that Jesus returns right after the destruction of the temple. And Jesus didn't give them the information that there's 2,000 years in between. So then when he describes the return, he does a little strange, not chronological things. He's trying to put things together, probably what Jesus told them, but he didn't understand the chronological order of things. He didn't know that the first thing that will happen is actually the rapture. In other words, Jesus will come personally to pick up his bride. How do we know that? Well, he starts here in 33 after the wrath of God is over, because after the wrath is over, he sends out his angels to collect whom? The sealed, not his bride. His bride is in heaven during the wrath of God. I have done videos about it. Okay? Do not argue with me. If you want to know where you can find it, please ask me. But don't tell me I'm lying. Don't tell me I'm giving you the wrong information. No, I'm not giving you the wrong information. I know where it is. Okay? And you can find it too if you want. But right now here, he is talking about first the wrath of God, which is an indication that the sun is going dark. It's going to be the wrath of God. And then after that, the angels are gathering the elect, or the sealed, the ones that are still following Jesus during the wrath of God. Now, then in 33 it says, watch out, stay alert, for you do not know when the appointed, let's go a little further. But about that time or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but the Father alone. Okay? Here he starts actually talking about the rapture. How do I know? because that is a phrase that is used for the bridegroom to go and get his bride. That was used for that event. Nobody knows that day or the hour when the bridegroom returns for his bride, only the Father. Why? Because in the Jewish or Hebrew wedding, the couple gets married, they have their contract, then the husband, the bridegroom, prepares a place for the bride, and when that place is done, he will return and pick up the bride. But the father will tell him when his place is done. The son doesn't know, because the son goes to the father's house to prepare a place. And that's why this phrase is there. Okay? 32. But about that day or hour, and he's actually talking about the return of Jesus for his bride, because that comes before the wrath. Okay? When the day of the Lord starts, they had no idea what that progression was or the timeline at that time. Okay? They had these various things that Jesus told them, but Jesus didn't tell them in correct order. Maybe he didn't want people to know. I don't know. Because like I said, the disciples thought that he would return during their lifetime. Okay? But he didn't. So right here it says, watch out, stay alert, for you do not know when. No, wait a minute. 32. But about the day or the hour, no one knows. Remember, it says day or hour. It doesn't say nobody knows when he's returning. Because before he already says, hey, wait a minute, watch the signs. And he's giving us signs right here. Okay? He's giving us signs and people don't really understand the signs. The sign here is not for the wrath of God. Yes, it's the day of the Lord, but it's not the wrath of God. This is talking about right now about Jesus' return. And Jesus will return for his bride before the wrath, because he will put her in the chambers that he prepared for her to keep her safe. I mention here only, if you want to look what something up, is Isaiah 26:19 through 21. You can read 3 verses and they tell you why the resurrected are hiding in the chambers or the rooms, because the wrath of God. It tells you clearly there. Okay, if you don't want to believe me. So here he is talking about the return of Jesus for his bride. When the father says, the rooms are done, you can go get your bride, he will go by himself. Okay? He is not sending his angels. He's coming himself to pick up his bride. Come on, people. All right? He is excited. He's been waiting 1 to 2 years for this event. So he's returning to get his bride. Now, here is the thing that I was so surprised about. I've never seen it before. Why? Because I have learned, I was reading other translations, and I have learned that the New American Standard Bible is most likely the only one. At least I looked at my King James, I looked at the German ones, NIV, and they don't have it. Okay? Only the New American Standard Bible. I think the American Standard doesn't even have it either. So it says right here, 33. Watch out, stay alert, for you do not know when the appointed time is. Now the difference here is the word appointed. The rest of them says when the time is. But this New American Standard Bible has appointed time. Now, why is that so interesting? Now, my question is, did the other ones just ignore that word when they translated it? Or why did the New American Standard Bible put appointed time in there? And why am I so shocked? Well, I am shocked because I have talked a lot about these feasts of the Lord, right? Or the feasts of the Jews, or feast of the Hebrews, right? Those 7 feasts. I talk about that all the time, especially the Feast of Trumpets, which is the next feast that Jesus needs to fulfill. There are 7 feasts of the Lord. Jesus has fulfilled the first 4 feasts, right? They're fulfilled. There is unleavened bread, Passover, first fruit, and Pentecost. Those are fulfilled, and Jesus had to fulfill them. Now the next 3 are the Feast of Trumpets, Yom Kippur, or the Atonement Day, and Sukkot. And Jesus has to fulfill them. So the next one that needs to be fulfilled is what? The Feast of Trumpets. He has to fulfill it. And it's interesting that these feasts are also called appointed time. Okay? They're called appointed time because God has appointed those times for Jesus to fulfill. And for the Jews actually to see that their Messiah is here. And they ignored him. Okay? They filled the feast with their own, traditions. Okay? That's not what it was for. It was for Jesus to fulfill. And the Jews were supposed to realize and recognize Messiah is fulfilling them. Okay? So, why am I interested in here? It says, watch out, stay alert, for you do not know when the appointed time is. He is pointing here again that Jesus will come at an appointed time. Okay? People always say, oh, nobody knows when he's returning. Yes, we do. Because the verse prior also points to the Feast of Trumpets. Because that is also symbolic for that feast that the bridegroom returns for his bride. Okay? And also for the day. But nobody knows the day or the hour. Okay? Because it happens on a new moon. And in the olden days, nobody knew when the new moon would start. Not the day nor the hour. Somebody had to watch out. They knew it was either on this day or that day. They always had 2 days where it could happen. But they didn't know. Okay? So they had to watch until they saw the first sliver. And then they could start the feast. So that's why nobody knows the day or the hour. And he points to that feast. Or like a thief in the night also points to that day. Because that day comes like a thief. We don't know it. We have to watch or else it's going to surprise us. Okay? So when I saw that, watch out and stay alert, for you do not know when the appointed time is. Now we know the next appointed time that needs to be fulfilled is the Feast of Trumpets, or Rosh Hashanah. I don't call it Rosh Hashanah, I call it Feast of Trumpets because that's the biblical name. I think Rosh Hashanah was created during Babylonian captivity and whatever. But anyways, so because it also points, of course, to this last trump thing. Okay? When the last trump sounds. The last trump of what? The last trump of the Feast of Trumpet. There's 100 trumps on the Feast of Trumpet. And when the last trump is blown at the end of the feast, that's when Jesus will return for his bride. And that's what he says right here. But see, even here Luke has it out of order. This should really be before the sun goes dark, or around the same time the sun goes dark. Okay? Because before the wrath starts, Jesus will pick up his bride. He will take her into the rooms. Please read that in Isaiah 26. It starts out with the death will rise. Okay? So there will be the resurrection. That's verse 19. Verse 20 says, go in your rooms. What rooms? The rooms that Jesus has prepared for them. He's returning for them to put them in the rooms. And then it says, because the wrath of God is coming. And then 21 again says, the wrath of God has to pass. They are in there because of the wrath of God. So people, when you read this again, you have all the information, then it finally makes sense. And I haven't seen that appointed time. Well, because I have a New American Standard Study Bible, but I haven't been using it lately. I've been using it for the past 40 years, I believe. Is it 40 or 25 years? Maybe 25. But, and so I've started using the New King James. And I just went back again and looked up some things. And then I read Mark in there, and that's what I came across. You can look that New American Standard Bible. All righty. All I wanted to give you some information. I just thought it was so interesting that I found that, because it again points that Jesus will come back on an appointed time, which is the next one, Feast of Trumpets. And then, of course, he will also fulfill the Atonement Day. That's when the judgment is. That's when he, goes out, have the angels go out and collect the regular harvest. We don't go into the regular harvest, okay? We don't go in the regular harvest. Why? Because we're first fruit. Now, if you again understand first fruit, the Hebrew first fruit, okay, the harvest, we in the Western world, we don't have first fruit. We just take everything at one time. But in the Hebrew tradition, you go out, you collect the first fruit, you collect the best fruit or best harvest and take it to the temple as an offering. And that's what we are. We are first fruit. And Jesus comes and picks the first fruit first before the general harvest is going to get, before they do the general harvest. Like some people told me the goat and the sheep harvest, right? When he divides the goats from the sheep. That's the general harvest, okay? We don't go in the general harvest. We go in the first fruit harvest. That's why he takes us and he puts up where? In the Father's house, okay? In the temple. Because we are offering to God. We're a special offering to God. Well, anyways, here it says again, stay alert. Oh, that's another one I found. 3 times it said there at the end, stay alert. It doesn't say, oh, people, go to sleep or run your life, or don't care about Jesus' return. No, it says here, stay alert. Why are you supposed to be staying alert? Because Jesus can come anytime. Okay? Well, especially every year on the Feast of Trumpets. And he says here, stay alert so you can see the signs. Okay? That's why. You need to look at the signs. He said something about the fig tree prior, 28. Watch the fig tree. You know what season it is when you watch the fig tree. You need to watch the season of time, okay, when Jesus returns. So that's why he says 3 times down here, what I say to you, I say to all, stay alert. And he said it prior to that 2 more times. And again he says, so that he does not come suddenly and find you asleep. Okay? Find you asleep or partying. Okay? Having a good time out there and partying. Okay? Running your life. Being busy. Okay? Making money. Doing this, doing that. Yeah. But he says stay alert. All right, people. Coming to an end. I will see you later and have a really nice Thanksgiving. And let the Holy Spirit guide you always.